Hey friends, welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose. Today is Wednesday, April 19, 2023. The sun is in Aries. This is a time of initiative, anticipation, and even celebration. And the new moon is in Aries too. Now, new moon in Aries, this is the second one this month, and two new moons in the same sign. They don't happen all that regularly. It happens about once every 29 months. So this is a relative rarity to get this second chance at the new moon in Aries. But it's definitely a time where, new moon is a time where we sort of go quiet, we go dark, we bring ourselves back into the moment, we become a little more reflective on what it is that we're trying to do in the world, right? So there is this sense of initiative and a sense of urgency and restlessness that comes with it. But this is more of a time to strategize, right? To plan our moves rather than to make them. So where am I putting my energy? This is the overall question of the day, right? This is the thing that we want to reflect on as we're coming into this new moon and this eclipse. So I know everybody has been telling you that the eclipse happens on Thursday, April 20. Well, it will be happening on Thursday, April 20 in the Eastern Hemisphere, where people can see it in Southeast Asia, New Zealand, Australia, parts of Africa. But we will not be able to see it here in the United States Midwest, where I am. It will be in the middle of the night. So first, this evening at 11:12 p.m., and that's Central Standard Time, friends, the sun goes conjunct to the moon, and that creates that new moon shape that we see, which we actually don't see from our perspective here in the Western Hemisphere. In North America, we don't see the moon in the sky at all during the new moon. But even if we did, we would not see very much of it, okay? Because we're seeing completely just the shadow side of the moon at this time. And, this is a new moon that goes void, of course, just as it is new. Okay, so that void, of course, is the time between when the moon conjuncts with the sun and when it moves on into Taurus tonight. So that's interesting. That's a very short space of time where the moon is relatively not influenced either by Aries or by Taurus. I think of it as a good time to sort of get in touch with myself, my own moon, because the moon represents, your body, your feelings, your intuitions, how things feel to you. So I usually try to take that time to get in touch with how I'm feeling about things so that I can set intentions with this new moon, right? This is the second new moon in Aries this year. I already explained that to you. It is the first solar eclipse in Aries since 2015. So I want you to give some thought to 2015 and what was happening then, because we might see a repeat of some themes this year in comparison to those solar eclipses, the solar eclipse that happened in Aries in 2015. This conjunction and this solar eclipse are happening at 29 degrees of Aries. And if you don't know, each of these is 30 degrees. They come together to make 360 degrees of an entire wheel, right? So here we are right at the end of the sun's transit in Aries at 29 degrees Aries. And this is a very powerful point. This is like where Aries is at its very strongest before it dissipates and we go on into Taurus, right? So this is the big buildup. Late tonight, this is going to be the high Aries energy as we deal with, sort of the sense of low energy and turning within and restrictive vibe of the new moon and the eclipse. So after 11:12 p.m. when the moon makes conjunct, culminates that new moon in Aries, we're going to have an eclipse 4 minutes later, okay? And like I said, we won't be able to see it in the Western Hemisphere. That will be available to be seen in the southern part of the Eastern Hemisphere. But that eclipse energy is still with us, and it shakes things up. It's a little bit of a chaos factor. It just, it says, whatever you thought was going to happen right now, it's probably going to be a little bit different. It's almost like Uranus just comes bouncing through like Tigger, right? So keep that in mind. However you think the evening is going, understand that there might be a little shakeup or a little chaos in the trajectory of what you're trying to do right now, right? This is a good time to be really laying low and reflecting on, uh, you know, Aries, the sun eclipse in Aries, it sort of obscures our view, and it causes our strength, our stamina, our willpower to sort of power down, to flag a little bit. Okay, so we're meant to use the downtime to gain some fresh ideas, again, about where we put our energy. All right, so when we're done with the eclipse, when the sun rises the next morning on Thursday, you know, then we might have some new discoveries. We might have some fresh ideas about how we're moving forward. It's definitely going to be an entirely new vibe, right? Because after that eclipse, just 14 minutes, the moon moves on into Taurus, all right? And this is a time for intention setting, that new moon. And we're intention setting in terms of our comfort, our security, our sense of support, our networks for support, you know, and the nice things we like to have to make sure that we feel supported. That's what the Taurus vibe is all about. And when the moon is in Taurus, that's who we are, what we are all about in terms of our bodies, our sense of physical comfort, emotional comfort, even sort of intuitive or energetic comfort in the world. Okay. Shortly after the moon moves into Taurus, it's going to square Pluto. And this is about endings and beginnings, friends. But that square aspect actually develops a bit of a challenge. It's there to remind us why we are bringing things to an end, or why we are making a new beginning on something. It's there to remind us why something has been uncomfortable to us, so that we can, you know, be sort of spurred into action to make a difference for ourselves. And then that's at 12:04 tomorrow morning. And then at 3:13 tomorrow morning, the sun will move on into Taurus, right? So the moon moves on, the sun moves on. So our sense of purpose also begins to revolve around the establishment of security and support. It's not just how we feel, but it's about what we want for ourselves and our lives. And then the sun will go square to Pluto tomorrow morning at 11:27, I believe. And that's another, you know, endings and beginnings. Only it's our sense of purpose, our outer life instead of our inner life. We're going through some transitions, friends. We're going through a metamorphosis, and you know, that takes us through some high highs of experience. It takes us through some low lows of experience. We get to see and do things. We get to discover or realize or come to understand things that we did not understand before. And that can be really challenging. It can be difficult. But, you know, the point is to be paying attention to what you're putting your energy into, right? So as these beginnings and these endings and beginnings are coming up, please pay attention to where you're putting your energy, okay? Those Aries vibes, those are, you know, they're very assertive. They're very, often very positive, very active. You know, it's a sense of conquest, of wanting to meet challenges and, you know, sort of check accomplishments off of your list, right? But the flip side of Aries, when it is challenged, is that it can be aggressive or angry. There can be fiery outbursts. You know, there's frustration, and there's irritability, and there's restlessness or impatience, right? So, you know, are you putting your energy into anger, frustration, and impatience? Because when you do, you actually often waste a lot of energy and sometimes do a bunch of work or labor that was completely unnecessary, right? So where are you putting your energy? Hopefully into things that feel like they cause you to move forward. Even if you get slowed down, even if your energy gets zapped by this new moon eclipse combo, and that is entirely possible. If your endurance gets zapped at this time, just consider it a time to sort of, what do we say? Fall back and strategize. Okay, so this is the point where we get to fall back and strategize so that we can again begin to make headway after we get through this new moon and eclipse energy. Okay, friends, thank you so much for joining me. Please like the video, subscribe. It helps a lot. Hit that notifications bell. I sure appreciate your presence here, and I'll see you all in the next video.